Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Well, one thing that people talk about is about how Karnataka has managed to effectively control the pandemic. But there are several issues that there could be hurdles. Also, we could ask about whether it's testing enough or not. I'm here in the Karnataka COVID war room, and I'm joined by Mr. Munish Mudgil. He's one of the persons who has been spearheading the war room, but more than that, his innovative steps as well as some of the measures that he has taken place has contributed immensely towards controlling the pandemic. I'm here joined by Mr. Mudgil himself. Thank you so much for talking to us, sir. I'd like to ask the first question. In terms of Karnataka's testing, how are we testing compared to the national standards? And are we better positioned than other states?
See, Karnataka has done, as on today, more than 3.5 lakh tests. And tests per million, which is an objective criteria of testing, firstly, Karnataka is much better than all India average. Second, Karnataka overall in the country is 5th or 6th in total number of tests per million. And second aspect of testing, how many positive cases we find for every 100 tests done. The number of cases Karnataka finds positive for every 100 tests done is 1. So what it shows is the infection rate in Karnataka is one of the lowest in the country. Second, Karnataka is testing adequately, and also we are focusing our test more intelligently to find the best possible people who may be infected. For example, the primary and secondary contacts, people who are coming up from outside. That is the reason of late we have been finding 200-300 cases coming up every day in Karnataka. 80 to 85% of that are the people who have traveled from outside and come into Karnataka, and we are as a policy testing each one of them, and we have been doing that. The numbers are now, with the opening up of the lockdown, will increase manyfold. So testing, the strategy of testing, the application of mind in testing, the quantity of testing, all have been good in Karnataka.
But the number of cases we've seen it spiking, right? 100 plus on a regular basis that is being reported. So is that because we're not adequately being able to effectively do things, or is it that contact tracing has helped a lot more in identifying these cases, which is better for Karnataka?
See, as on today, 80 to 85% cases happening in Karnataka now in last 15-20 days are due to the domestic travelers coming from outside the Karnataka. And we have been able to successfully immediately test them on arrival, and hence been able to find these cases. And that is the success of Karnataka system to identify the people who are positive. I'll tell, in general, the success of any state or any country to contain COVID comes from two major aspects. In fact, three, but two broad. For prevention side, there are two major parts. One is identifying the contacts or people who are capable or likely to be infected. Second, isolating or quarantining them. These two aspects Karnataka has done well from beginning, because of which the spreads have been contained. Even when some incident or sporadic incidents of explosion of number of cases in certain locations happened, immediately following up to that, the spread was contained. So what we are finding today now, large number of cases by Karnataka standard happening per day, 200, 300. Majority of them are from interstate movement, and identifying them is a success, that we are identifying them and containing them and isolating them and isolating the virus from spreading and protecting the other healthy population.
But we need to compare ourselves with other states as well. We have seen Maharashtra with cases are blowing up, and a lot of cases have been coming to Karnataka from there, which contributes to the spike in cases. Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and we have to even seal our borders for that matter. So what is it that is going wrong in other states that Karnataka is doing right?
See, firstly, I would say that the phase of lockdown of interstate movement is over already. From 1st June, it is a unlock 1. Now the interstate movement will be as free as is possible in this COVID situation, and Karnataka is braced up for that. What we are doing is that we are recording every entry which is happening in Karnataka without actually preventing them, but we are recording it. Once we record, we will follow up each one of them. We have put in place a system through IT and other means, a system where we know the medical health status of every person who arrives. It is very humongous task, but we have put in place that system. The idea is every arrival will free to arrive, but we'll check his medical health, this temperature and basic symptoms. And if he is having any symptoms, we'll test and take follow-up action on that. And it will not be proper on my part what is happening in another state and pass any judgment on that or opinion. I believe every state is doing the best they can to contain the disease, and the disease is, as I said, contained by two actions: identifying the people who might be infected, like contacts or like interstate moving people. Second, once you identify them, properly home quarantining or isolating them. I would say that the success of Karnataka primarily comes from two factors, and the first factor is the people of Karnataka. The people of Karnataka has understood this disease and have taken it upon themselves to, through their right behavior, etc., to contain the disease. Because unless people step up, the administration alone cannot function. Second part, which is very important also, is that the administration in Karnataka, led by the Honorable Chief Minister, and the bureaucracy by the Chief Secretary, has functioned in a very well-oiled manner, in a coordinated manner, and everybody has done the best they could in their own domains, including logistics, supplies, movement, interstate movement, then even IT systems, the health. So all these things have come together. It's like it's a simplistic example. When Indian cricket team plays well, everybody plays well. And in such a large scale pandemic, everybody plays a very important role in containing. It will be unfair to point out anybody. And the fact of the matter is, the people of Karnataka and the administration's coordinated effort in ensuring good quarantining from day one, and also ensuring good identification of the people who could be infected, has ensured that we are able to contain the spread in Karnataka. Going forward, that continues to be our main focus to prevent the spread in Karnataka.
But does it mean that unable to effective contact tracing, unable to do enough testing, unable to trace people who are traveling in and out, could be the reasons why there are spikes in areas and there are such, it could be literally blowing up and uncontrollable in various areas in other states?
See, as I said, the two major factors are to control the disease, the people and the administration, broadly speaking. The action and conduct of the people is equally important. People need to cooperate, and administration's actions are also quite important. So I think the combination of two is what is leading to certain situations in certain places, and I'm very sure people are trying to correct it or improve it. Even Karnataka is trying to learn everything and improve on a day-to-day basis. So nobody is perfect, and everybody is trying to do their best, but it's a combination of these two factors which leads to whatever happens.
We've seen Unlock 1.0, but as people speak, they talk about possibly this peaking or the cases increasing. Has India peaked?
See, I would answer it in this way. When we say peaking, the peaking is when on a daily basis, the cases which are being reported start reducing. If we were getting 100 cases for the last 10 days, then consistently the cases number which are reported every day start reducing from 100 to 90, 80, 70. I would say at this point, we are still slightly increasing on the daily cases being reported. But if we ensure the post-lockdown, this was expected in the relaxation of lockdown. If we handle these 15-20 days of post-lockdown, the best, we can turn the corner of reducing the cases. And that turning of corner happens by my saying, if every individual, I would wish to say, this disease is extremely controllable if each one of us behaves correctly in our individual capacity, which means we take our basic social distancing. Second, we ensure that we maintain our basic hygiene. We wear the mask when we interact with people, go out, and not that any time and every time we wear mask at home, we should not, need not. But when we are interacting, going out in public places, these 2-3 steps at individual level will make all the difference in controlling this disease. This disease is extremely controllable if we take these actions.
Industries have opened up, companies have opened up, except for the IT industry that's still looking at work out of home, but a lot of them have still opened up. Initially 33%, and now almost everybody is coming in. with this unlockdown, or rather unlocking of the lockdown, how do you see things slipping back into normalcy? Because when I was talking to some of the experts, they said China is now almost 90 to 95% slipping into normalcy already. But the situation with companies and industries, how long will this continue, and what are the challenges they face?
Two things. If we, the people of India and every state, if we have taken our lesson on the basic change in behavior, then we can absolutely open up more and more without too much of negative consequences of spread. So I will again stress that individual behavior of each one of us to observe our hygiene, social distancing, and the masks while we go on with our regular thing will be the key to open up without consequences. Once we are able to demonstrate that we are able to do this, then I believe in 15-30 days time we can actually have as much close to normalcy as possible. Third thing, I'll again reiterate, some behavioral changes we have to inculcate in us for a long time, maybe permanently, for next 6 months and 1 year, and that we should take it as a part of our life. Just because cases will get controlled, we should not change our these basic social behavior which we need to learn to handle this disease until the vaccine is found.
That led me to my last question now, saying how long will this continue and how long do we need to keep these changes? Because social distancing, wearing of masks, how long will this go on?
I would say for some foreseeable future, this behavioral change we have to adopt without affecting any other part of ours. For example, you are doing your job, I am doing my job. We are having a basic social distance, plus we are wearing a mask. And I believe it is slightly inconvenient, but it is necessary, and it is necessary immediately. And please understand, again I reiterate, this is death of the virus if we do this. So let us do this. Let us not cooperate with virus. Let us cooperate with each other and do these changes until for next 6 months, 1 year.
That's an important point. Cooperate not with the virus, but cooperate with each other. And most importantly, it's the responsibility of every individual to take care. Because as he was explaining earlier also, this pandemic can be controlled and be controlled by each one of us when we take care of ourselves in a way that we maintain all this sanitization processes as well, and ensure that we take care of ourselves and the community also then takes care of itself. Rohini Swami in Bengaluru for The Print.